Kia updated its first generation K5 for 2025. It was brand new in 2021, replacing the Optima. Now it includes a refreshed look and a different standard powertrain. Let's take a closer look. Looking at the front of the car, it mostly looks the same. Everything was kind of subtly changed, but there are a few differences. Most notably are the star map daytime running lights that you see right here, but they're a nice amber color that I can show you during the day. As you can see, they start all the way back here, have the zigzag effect when you look at it from the side, and then carry right across the top of the headlight towards the center of the car, and it is a nice look. They are, of course, LEDs. Other changes include this honeycomb lower grille and some specific shaping for the GT car with like fin-like structures down low. You also have more beams down low, more beams just under the daytime running lights, and just a little bit more grown-up, subtle front-end look generally. I think that Kia went in the right direction with this change. To me, it was a little over the top when it was brand new in 2021. This just looks a little bit more thought through, sorted out. I do like this fairly extensive looking front spoiler lip right here, though this blanked out spot for the adaptive cruise control sensor is a little bit larger than ideal, but I think the K5 look takes the new logo and makes a nice shape of it. Also, I like what Kia did with the hood. The A-pillar just kind of molds right into the front of the hood, and those character lines just carry in right to the front. And then we have these little points in the center of the hood that dips down just a little bit right here. It is a nice and fairly aggressive and fairly sporty style. And generally, the car does look fairly low and fairly wide for a family-size sedan. Overall, I think it's a nice update. Really matures the car for, you know, a mature person like me. All right, let's look under the hood. Well, there it is, your turbocharged 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder, transversely mounted or side to side like that. You can very clearly see the turbocharger right here. It is nice and high right in the back, and it is surrounded in a small heat shield wrapped around the turbo itself, and then there's more heat shielding up against the firewall right there, and then all this intake plumbing going on right here. The actual intake's right here, but that swoops down to the air box here. That swoops back, and then we have more tubing, more plumbing. So yeah, it's kind of a beautiful scene in a lot of ways. This is the optional engine that is only offered on the GT model of the Kia K5. It makes 290 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. Now, I said there's a new base powertrain. That is also a 2.5 liter engine, but it is naturally aspirated. It makes 191 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque. I imagine it looks very similar to this, but no turbo on the cladding and less plumbing as well. That is replacing the turbocharged 1.6 liter that was the standard engine in the K5 before 2025. The actual batteries hanging out right here up against the firewall. Your ABS pump is tucked way back in the corner underneath the firewall almost. Your coolant overflow tank is back here. This is for brake fluid right here. You do have kind of sort of a built-in strut tower brace in the sense that the strut tower is right against the firewall, and there's this metal that goes across to form the firewall. That's interesting to see. The axle, the front axle center line is right around here, right around the midpoint of the battery. So that does put much of the engine in front of the front axle center line. Not all of it. You have the turbo and a couple of extraneous components here, but considering that this is front engine, front wheel drive, so we have a transaxle right here, that is going to make it a heavy front end. It is all aluminum, so that helps a little. And there are a couple of cool things to see, like this super beefy engine mount right here. And windshield washer fluid is on the passenger side, right up front, right here. Looking at the Kia K5 in profile, you can see that it's got a very sporty shape inherently, but it's also pretty darn busy. You also have a nice look at what Kia calls steel matte gray paint. That is a $695 optional color. I do think it looks nice, and I think it's quite interesting to see it against a lot of different finished metals that we have going on over here. First though, you have this gloss black side view mirror cover right here, but then more of a matte black for the base of the window trim right here, only to once again see gloss black on the B and C pillars. Then what almost looks like polished alloy door handles right here. It's similar to, but not the same as a steel matte paint right here. And then you have this very clearly almost chrome polished metal up here for the top of the window trim that comes around and swoops right around right across the back of the car, the side at the base of the rear windshield. Then to cap it all off, you have a little bit more gloss black right here at the top of the A-pillar, and then because of our panoramic glass roof, we have a lot more what appears to be gloss black right here. Fits the gloss black shark fin right there. We also have some fender flares built into the front quarter panel right here that has this crease right here before it goes down vertically. It's even more subtle in the back, but it's there. And then we have this fairly subtle character line that starts in the quarter panel right here, shoots right across beneath the door handles, and comes all the way through to the back. But then there's another increase right here, another line right here that comes down like that. So it's an interesting, fairly busy profile to this car. I think it's executed pretty well, but there is a lot going on. I think less would be more a little bit here. So maybe the full-on second generation K5 can have slightly cleaner lines. Either way, this may work for many, just a little bit too much for me. I will go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen for you to check out and let you know that I have a lot more information in the description. Because this Kia K5 has the GT1 package, you're looking at a special black 19-inch wheel for this K5. The GT1 package has a lot of stuff in it. A lot of it's in the interior, so I'll go over more of that in just a moment. If you get the base LXS trim, you get 16-inch alloy wheels. The EX and the GT line get 18-inch wheels. Go 19s when you get to the GT. We also get these neon green front brake calipers here, and we also get those neon green in the rear as well. That does add a bit of flash, a bit of sportiness to this car, and a fairly aggressive but still all-season tire right here. And yes, this is ultimately a family sedan. The wheels and tires in back are the same size as what's in front. Looking at the rear of the K5, again, it's the lights that have the biggest change. You have these full width tail lights right here, and then again they have these interesting angles, kind of comes into the side and down here before it goes fully across. It also extends about 1.5 inches past the back of the trunk right here, and the trunklet itself is changed a little bit. It's got this integrated spoiler into it right here, and that's not just the GT, that is across all trims that you get that. And this particular change does work. I think they executed very well here. And here's a look at that chrome element that comes right across that connects the side windows to the rear windshield right here. Then going down, there's your GT badge, K5 right there, and the bumper with the license plate down low with this gloss black finish behind it. But then when you go really low, we do get into a couple of faux pas. We have fairly loud quad exhaust tips for a family sedan. This is the sporty family sedan, and we do have proper amounts of horsepower here. 290 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. Very good numbers. But quad exhaust tips that are this big kind of numbers, I don't know about that. To be fair, these are real. Those aren't faux tips, so credit where credit's due there. But even then, it still feels a little bit loud. Also, this faux diffuser back here, I'm sorry, that's too much for me. I would like something ultimately that just looked cleaner and integrated more completely. But it definitely does communicate sporty intentions of this Kia, and you know, there are some moves with the horsepower and with the chassis to back that up. So, you know, that might be a good fit for some. And yes, this is a family sedan, which means we do get a pretty respectable trunk. That is 16 cubic feet of trunk space right there. And we do have a nice wide opening right here. Although it's not too terribly deep, the bottom of the trunk is a solid 6 inches beneath the bumper and everything, beneath the carryover line. We do have this $100 trunk mat right here. And we do have a space saver spare beneath all that. And if you need more than 16 cubic feet of space, that is easy to do. Pull those handles and then give just a little bit of encouragement, and you have more than 16 cubic feet of storage and room for you and a passenger. All right, let's check out the inside. You are looking at a black leatherette upholstery right here with this nice neon green stitching right here to add just a little bit of flair to an otherwise pretty dark space. We do have this nice little interesting crease in this gloss black piece right here with your power window. Otherwise fairly typical looking door trim, but I do like this little metal piece right here. And the sill does remind you that it's a K5. I am 5 feet 11 inches or 181 centimeters tall, and as you can see, I have several inches of knee room right here, and I actually sink down into the seat fairly low, which means I have decent thigh support as well, and just barely I have headroom as well. Just barely. Put all that together, I also have less than a 90-degree bend in my knees. It is fairly Spartan back here, but I do have a couple of USB Type-C ports and an armrest with cup holders. So yeah, it's totally fine back here. We do have the usual controls on the door right there, as well as 2-position driver's seat memory right there, and a decently sized map pocket below that. The front door sill does say K5 as well, and you do have a couple of controls to the left of the steering wheel, including a button to open the trunk and your traction control off button. We do have a power seat with lots of controls, including lumbar support right there, which I definitely appreciate. And you can adjust both the tilt and telescope of the steering manually right there. The steering itself is a nice fat rim, and it does have a flat bottom, and we do have several cruise control options on the right, media controls on the left, and also paddle shifters, upshift on the right, downshift on the left. And of all the cars that have paddle shifters, they're almost ubiquitous these days. These are more legit than most because this is a dual clutch transmission, not an automatic, so that's nice to see. We also have this panoramic curved display in the Kia K5, which is nice to see, and push button start is right here. There is the 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster and 12.3-inch center display all lit up right there. The reason we have a fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster is because of that GT1 package I mentioned before with those 19-inch black wheels. There is actually a long list of things that the GT1 package comes with, so let me tell you what they are. By the way, this is a $4,400 package. You get the 12.3-inch curve instrument display, digital key 2.0, a Bose premium audio system with 12 speakers, active sound design, 19-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish, driver's seat and outside mirror integrated memory system, these guys right here, 10-way power passenger seat with 2-way lumbar adjustment to match the driver's seat that I just showed you, ventilated front seats, a heated steering wheel, park collision avoidance assist in reverse, surround view monitor, blind spot view monitor, side parking sensors, power folding side view mirrors, and power windows with one-touch auto up and down. So yeah, kind of runs the gamut. This is a fairly low-cost family sedan. This is less expensive considerably than the Toyota Camry and Honda Accord. So it's interesting that a lot of those features are actually in a package. If you go without this package, you can get a K5 GT for under 35 grand, $34,245. Even with everything, which includes the paint, the package and carpeted floor mats and that trunk mat, it's still $39,625. The 12.3-inch center display is standard equipment, and that does also come as standard with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Also standard, this 2-zone climate control system right here, which has another digital screen right here, but 2 physical knobs for each zone. And the center display uses something that Kia calls the Connected Car Navigation Cockpit. It's actually a firmware that they use that is faster than before and has a higher resolution than before. Generally speaking, I think it works well, though there is a little bit of lag with Apple CarPlay. This 2-zone climate control display is part of the update for the refresh K5, as are this new setup down low, which includes 2 USB Type-C ports and a wireless smartphone charger right there. And the Qi charger has 3 level indicators right here to show you when your smartphone is charging. Kia says we also have larger cup holders than before. Well, I'll take it. Here is our fairly standard looking Prindle, but we do have manual shift mode on the Prindle as well, upshift, downshift. And again, because it's a dual clutch transmission, not automatic, that does give it a little bit more legitimacy, I would say. Beneath that, we do have the electric park brake right here, and here is the button for the surround view cameras. There is our surround view right there, currently looking forward, and you can see the options we have right here. If I put it in reverse, there is the reverse camera instead. And beneath that, there is your heated and ventilated seat control right there. Heated seats come on the EX and higher trims, but the ventilated seats requires that GT1 package. And right next to that, the heated steering wheel, which does itself have 2 levels. There's our drive mode dial. I'll get to that in just a moment. But first, there is our little tray right here and our lower center console right there, which does have another USB Type-C port. It's right there. Looking up, we do have a couple of lights and a fast-moving, electrically controlled privacy panel and panoramic moonroof. It's all very lovely. And if you give it a lighter tap, the privacy panel opens on its own. All right, let's talk drive modes. We have a few: normal, sport, and my drive. To adjust my drive, you go to setup, vehicle, drive mode, my drive mode, and then you can see we have powertrain and steering adjustments right here. There's no adaptive suspension or anything like that. So this is largely going to be throttle map and gear changes and those types of things. But it's nice to see that you have a little bit of control and you can weight up the steering as well, which is nice. Personally, I think for my mode, I'm going to keep it in the normal powertrain mode because I like a more linear throttle pedal, but I will take the heavier steering. By the way, there is a second page of controls right here, and generally speaking, this part, the touchscreen part of the center display, works really well. So there you have it, the 2025 updated Kia K5 GT with the turbocharged 2.5 liter. Yeah, I think Kia's made some smart changes here. I think it generally looks good, and yeah, I'm tempted by the power numbers as well. Kia also continues to impress with the level of convenience and technology you get in their cars for the price, to be sure. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you very much for watching.